Welcome everyone back to another Dragon Ball Super card game video. My name's D-Free. Here today we will be taking a look at my red Yamcha deck. Hope you guys enjoy. Hit that subscribe if you haven't been new for more Dragon Ball Super card game content here on the channel. That being said, we have Yamcha, the Hungry Wolf. So this man is a phenomenal card, and I really do enjoy this deck. We're going to go ahead and go over it though. So let's go back here. So we're going to actually pull this up in a separate tab so I can kind of bounce back and forth. But we have Yamcha. So that being said, here we go. Yamcha, leader card. So on the front side, Burst 2. When he attacks, you have to drop 2 cards from the top of your deck into your drop area and then draw a card. I'm kind of like, the good news is he doesn't have to attack a leader like a lot of the newer leaders did have to, you know, in the last couple iterations of leader cards. But I'm still kind of like about Burst, especially because the deck does play a Burst battle card, which we'll get back to. But it's not a bad thing innately, because at its worst, within a couple of turns, you're able to do your Sparking stuff, Sparking 5 stuff, so it's not too bad. When your life is at 4 or less, choose 2 energy, switch them to active, and flip it over. And then on the Awoken side, if you have Sparking 5, which again, like I said, the Burst kind of does feed into that, which is the point of that. When he attacks, you draw a card, and then this card also gains critical for the turn. And then his other ability is Activate Main. Once per turn, choose 1 red battle card in your battle area. Then the chosen battle card can attack battle cards in active mode for the duration of the turn. So, long story short, he is a pressure leader. So when you flip him over, he's able to swing, you draw a card, he gets critical, which is really good. He doesn't get an attribute bonus like an attack bonus, but still 15k critical before a combo is still very powerful. So other than that though, giving the ability for a red battle card to swing active mode is crazy as well when you see kind of what we're doing in the deck. So we had 4 Fortune Teller Babas. So Baba is a very good card. She is, I believe, a dash pack card for set 5. So when you play this card, choose one of your Earthling cards in your leader area or battle area, and it gets 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. That first skill is really good for early game, where you can pressure with the front side of Yamcha. And it's also really good for the late game, where you can pressure with the critical side of Yamcha too. So she's really good in either scenario. Also, her second ability, when you combo with this card from a battle area, draw 1 card, then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets minus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. So, long story short, she's pretty much a combination attack Pan, I believe is her name, from the starter deck, the red GT starter deck. She's just a better version of that card, you know. But ultimately, you're able to get bonus 5. When you combo with her, you get another 5 because she's a 5k combo. And then you draw another card, so she replaces herself. And you also reduce a card by 5 as well, which can destroy 5k or less cards, or can also just be the push that you need. So that's really good. I used her a lot to get rid of Crisis Crushers, because you just kind of need to get those Crisis Crushers off the board. And there's another card in here that helps for that too, because Crisis Crusher can be really annoying. Anyway, so she's a very powerful card and very good as well in this deck. So Intensifying Power Trunks. He's one of those cards that, again, gets inhibited by Crisis Crushers, so you need to make sure you get Crisis Crushers off the board. But ultimately, when you swing, you get to pull a life. He gets 10k bonus power and critical. Another critical swinger, especially early game, when your leader isn't really a critical swinger, you know. And I don't always swing with the leader on the front side, because the whole point is to try to get cards in your drop. But if you don't, then that's fine. You know, you just don't want to give them the opportunity to get as many cards as possible, right? So keep that in mind. But also, he's mainly good for the Evolve, as you guys should know if you played the game. So we're going to come back to the Evolve when we get there. Saiyan Kaba, only 2 in the deck. I used him as a late game finisher, a 1-drop finisher, because he turns into a 15k double striker. So he's really good when you just have 1 energy, and you're going to come in and you're just trying to beat them in that turn. And you pull a life, which adds a card to your hand as well. That could potentially be a combo card or whatever the case is. So very good, but I only used him, again, in that scenario. I didn't play him early game as an Awakener, just late game. So moving on, everybody's pal, Yamcha. This is a tournament card that you guys get for participating in the tournament currently. When he attacks, look at the top 3 cards in your deck. Choose up to 1 Earthling card among them, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. He's basically a fixed version, if you want to call it that, of the Scrambling Assault Goten, where you go ahead and you filter through your deck. And if you look at it, we have Baba as a Earthling. We have Trunks as an Earthling. We have the Yamchas themselves. You can pull one of those. You can pull your Roshi super combo. You can pull the Gohans. All the hybrid Saiyans, pretty much the whole deck, except for Toppo, the extra cards, the Zeno, and the Kaba can be searched out. So literally your whole deck. All the hybrids do count as Earthlings because they have that tag on them. So that card is phenomenal. Just gives you a ton of advantage. also being 15k on turn 2 is very powerful. That means that they're going to most likely have to expend a card to get him off the board if they wanted to swing at him, or they're going to waste a potential swing that could have came to your leader to try to get him off the board. Turn 2, that's very powerful. So very good card and 100% worth running. And again, super combo, Sparking 5 super combo, because you can get this going very easily in this deck because he's a burst leader. So it's very, very easy to get your Sparking. And you also can search him out, like I said, so why not? Also moving on, we have Burst Attack Son Gohan in the main. Now, this is mainly for a couple of different situations. You could chain attack him out if you're low on hand. He, of course, will replace himself by drawing you a couple of cards in your hand when your life is at 4 or less. Otherwise, if you go up against a Cell matchup, he's one of the better cards you can rip off of that. Also, if you're forced to Zeno, this is one of the better cards you can pick up post-Zeno as well, because it'll replenish your hand really, really quickly as well. So, like, there are just different uses for this card. It's always been a very good card and always pretty much will be. I consider it to be one of the best cards in the deck. Now, moving on, we have 4 Fearless Pan. This is the most I've ever used in a deck. And if you want to go 3, I wouldn't blame you. But, like, Fearless Pan is so freaking good in this deck because what happens is, for one, she proxies as a defensive card because of the barrier blocker, which is always really nice to have, but also because of the fact that she comes in and gives Yamcha himself, a critical leader, access to double strike. And she gives the entire board a bonus 5,000 power and double strike as well, except for herself anyway. There were times where I played one turn, and then I played another the next turn, and then I played another the next turn. It's just like, that's too much power. You know, you're swinging it with too much stuff. And then when you have a couple on board already, the other ones do start getting the double strike and the 5k. It just only applies to this individual card. So if you play them in succession, you're crazy. Like, you're going crazy. That's an insane amount of, you're not crazy, but that's an insane amount of pressure, right? They can't keep up with that. There's too many threats on the board, especially because she also gives a 5k bonus. And then, again, they are blockers, which is always nice to have, especially because they can't be removed unless they swing active pretty much, or ignore barrier. So this is a card from the Ultimate Box. Now, this one was my flex choice. He was the card that I felt like didn't really necessarily need to be here, but I did like him and his synergy because he turns into, for one, a chain attack target. You can chain attack him out. And if your leader is red, he can attack cards that are in active mode already. So you don't even need to waste the Yamcha's leader skill ability to give him the ability to do that. But also, when he KOs a battle card, inflict 1 damage to your opponent. So we start doing things from here. We start looking at cards that are able to do burn damage, essentially. Like, just doing burn damage is very, very good because it means you don't have to swing at their leader. And I won several games personally by not even swinging at the leader because of these types of effects. And again, you can play him pretty much for free. And then if you want him to turn into a double striker, you can play the pan and then swing at the leader to get 2 lives instead of 1, stuff like that. So Yamcha at 100%. The best card in the deck, pretty much. Him and Miraculous Comeback Gohan are the 2 best cards in the deck, pretty much. So when you play him, activate main once per turn, so you can do it whenever you want, when he's on board, not when you play him, excuse me. You have to burst 5 cards. You have to drop the top 5 cards in your deck, which isn't a big deal when you have this card on. It sounds like it's a lot, right? It is a lot. You don't want to mill like your super combos or things like that. But when you have this card on the board, you're going for pressure. You're trying to do game. You're trying to do pressure. It's not a big deal. And then if you have another one on board, you're good. And being at 19 means they need to combo from a 15 up. So, like, stuff like that means that they have to expend cards in a lot of scenarios, or just, again, swing with a higher power, like battle card, 20k plus. So he's just good offensively and defensively because if he survives, you know, for one, when you end your turn, they're going to immediately get him off the board. They're going to swing at him endlessly to get him off the board, which is good because they expend resources and they try to, you know, pressure him off the board. So that's what makes him so good because of that too. But again, when your leader card is a red Earthling, which it is, for the duration of the turn, he gets 6,000 power, so he becomes a 25. And his attacks can't be negated, which is crazy. So no Nimbuses on his attack, whatever the case is. A lot of times what I would do is swing with him first. They couldn't Nimbus it. And then I'd have an extra swing or 2, pretty much. So, anyways, and deals 2 damage to your opponent's life when it KOs a battle card too. And then this, in conjunction with the leader skill, means that he can swing active, can't be negated, becomes a 25k damage, you know, burning when he destroys your card type of card. He is insane in this deck. Definitely a 4-of. So speaking of 4-ofs, we have 4 Chain Attack Trunks. Chain Attack Trunks is the main engine of the deck because you do use him to play. You can hard cast a lot of the cards in this deck. I'm not going to lie to you. But you do use him to play a lot of your 15k or less cards. Yamcha at 100% does not qualify for that, but the other Yamcha does. Your super combo technically would, but why? No reason to do that. Burst Attack Gohan, Fearless Pan. Chain Attack in a Fearless Pan is very, very good, especially later in the game. Just keep that in mind. Also into the virtuous strength, virtuous? I don't know. Strength Gohan. We also had the Zeno as an option as well, just in case. And we side deck a few other options, digging deep, and we also did side the Prince Vegeta as well. So just very, very good card. And then we have Pride and Justice Topo. This card actually is very interesting. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but if your opponent or your leader card has 15,000 or more power, pretty much meaning that they're awoken. But it doesn't have to be awoken, by the way. It just says 15k or more, meaning that you can play your Baba, and you should be able to, from there, get this permanent to trigger. You can play your Baba and boost your Yamcha. He'd be at 15. You can play this card from your hand by paying 2 energy instead. You can hard cast him. He doesn't have to be a negate. He is a negate, but you can play him for a 2 energy negate if they're awoken, or 15k, whatever the case is, or you can hard cast him. And I use them a lot of times as an offensive 2-drop, because what happens is, especially when you couple that with your leader, if you're awoken, the ability to swing active, this guy just turns into a board clear. He gets everybody off the board. He's too good. He's really, really good. So when he KOs a battle card, you switch him to active mode again. Very, very good. Gohan here, miraculous comeback. If you have 3 or less cards in your hand beside this card, so 4 cards including this card, I don't know why they didn't just say that, reduce the energy cost in this card in your hand by 4. You need 2 red energies to play him, pretty much at that point. And he's a double strike 25k. When he KOs your opponent's battle card, inflict 2 damage. So a lot of cards to start doing free damage, basically, for destroying battle cards. And that was the premise of this. And then we have the Zeno, of course, for the board wipe, if you need it. I didn't have to do it ever. I hardly ever have to, which is why it's only a 2. We side the 3rd. After Image Technique is low-key the best card in this deck as well, because of the way that it works. So Sparking 5 is very easy to get very early. Plus 40k for your card for the duration of the battle, and minus 10 for one of their battle cards for the duration of the turn is crazy good. It does not apply to leader cards, but it does apply to battle cards. But you can also use this card, not be able to negate their battle cards' power, not negate, but reduce their power, but also boost your own attack. So keep that in mind. It's a very versatile card, but it does not negate the attack. And then, of course, if Sparking 5, you can pull the life and play it. And we play 2 M2s, because M2, the minus 5k does come in clutch. But also keep in mind, too, a thing about M2 is that it does help clear the Crisis Crushers, like I mentioned earlier. So for the sideboard, we did play 2 Videls, just in case we needed more negates. Never needed to play her. We had Digging Deep Vegeta, who actually a lot of times got main boarded for the Gohan, the Virtuous Strength Gohan, because you don't, sometimes you just don't need them. And sometimes it's nice to get another option for Awakening as well. Especially because this guy can pressure, he swings twice, and if you give him the double strike, he can swing twice with double strike. So we also have Glory Obsessed Prince of Destruction Vegeta. When he attacks, switch him to active mode, and he gets 10,000 for the duration of the battle. So he's another card like that that can just swing multiple times, and he can already swing active. So he's very good. We had Foreseeing Hit, because why not? Another burn card here, because when you play Hit, the following turn you can involve him and do 2 damage for free without even needing to attack. And then the last Zeno. So ultimately, the deck is a ton of fun. Very, very good deck. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hit that subscribe if you happen to be new for more content. And I'll catch all of you guys in the next Dragon Ball Super Card Game video.